What is up, gang? It's Matt from Red Wing Diehards here with you tonight. Forrest can't make it tonight, so we're just going to be going solo, talking about this little 3-game win streak the Red Wings are on. Wins over Nashville, the New York Islanders, and the win tonight against the New Jersey Devils. We're going to talk about it right now.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Hockey Town Hangout.
Brings it in, scores! Oh, his first NHL goal is a beauty!
The sickest Detroit Red Wings podcast. It's gonna be sick.
So, since we last got together and discussed the state of the Red Wings, they've been able to rattle off 3 victories in a row, all regulation wins, which could end up being a big thing down the road should they continue to climb and scratch and claw their way up the standings. Over the last 3 games, though, there still have been some things that are, mildly concerning as you're watching the games. Despite winning these last 3 games in a row, the last 3 games we have been outshot 109-55, which is almost double for those math whizzes at home. And I'm just not sure how sustainable that is in the long run. I caught it tonight. I'm not sure if I didn't catch it in the other games, but maybe I missed it. But tonight it looked like they were playing man coverage in the defensive zone, which isn't something I've noticed them do before. And I question if that's sustainable with the personnel that we have. Obviously, we have some guys who can scoot around, who have some good mobility. But when you play that type of system and that type of structure, it does involve a lot of skating, shadowing the guys. And I would argue it's really not doing a good job preventing, high danger chances. New Jersey was having their lunch at times in the offensive zone tonight. Surprisingly, didn't score a 5-on-5 goal. So kind of more of that bend, don't break mentality, so to speak. But, the Nashville game, that was kind of a tight checking kind of game. Nashville had yet to win a game at that point, kind of gripping their sticks a little bit. The final score, 5-2, really isn't indicative of how the game was actually played. Those 2 empty net goals at the end, obviously. But they managed to score a power play goal in that game. Dylan Larkin buried a power play goal in that Nashville game. So we're seeing when the power play does click and does get to that level, it is contributing into wins, at least early in the young season, which is nice. But the special teams, for sure, there's still a big concern. There's still a lot of questions there. By my calculations, the penalty kill after the game tonight sits at 62.5%, which in the National Hockey League is not good. Very, very not good. And we can't be giving up 2-3 power play goals every game. That's not a recipe for success, obviously, especially when your power play is struggling to get going. And, the game tonight against the Devils, Patrick Kane was pretty much the only reason our power play got on the board tonight. Just kind of a little shift there with the quarterback and the half wall guys put Patrick Kane at the top of the zone, and the Devils were giving him all kinds of room. And he was able to kind of bait him away from Larkin at the net front, and Larkin was right there with a good target for him. And it was a bang play, and that went in the net, which was nice. And then on ultimately the game-winning goal, the 4th goal of the game, Patrick Kane, again, was given time and space up top towards the slot, and Markstrom got a piece of it, but not enough. I do want to add, it's kind of funny how everyone's like, oh, the Devils are so good, they're just a goalie away. And then Markstrom comes in tonight and gives up 4 on like 25 or something like that. I thought that was pretty funny. But nice to see the power play going tonight. And then the penalty kill, the Devils went on the power play with like 2.5 left, something like that. And the penalty kill stepped up there, got to some loose pucks, was able to clear them. So that was really good to see. Also feels to me like the offense is missing the net quite a bit. I've noticed it from a few different players, but especially DeBrincat in particular. I don't mean to pick on DeBrincat. He had a nice goal tonight at the end of the first, but for guys like that who are counting on for offense and to generate, quality shots for, man, got to be hitting that net a little more often. So love to see that. Maybe that would help with the massive shot disparity too. If we could find a way to be hitting the net more. That game in New York, the Islanders game, what a weird and funky game. I'm not sure if we'll ever see a game like that ever again. Red Wings get the win 1-0 with 11 shots for their fewest shot total in a game that they won since they started keeping track of shots. I think Ken Daniels said like in the 60s tonight on the broadcast. So that's pretty insane. I don't think you'll ever see a game like that again. Alex Lyon played out of his mind that game. He's been looking really well in the few starts that he's earned so far this year. And I think his save percentage is north of 950 right now, which is outstanding. You really can't ask for much more than that. And then Cam Talbot's had a couple of nice outings too. Looked pretty sharp tonight. But again, just those power play goals, man. The penalty kill does not look good. I really hope that they can find a way to tighten that up because we've said it before on this podcast. You're kind of looking for a combined percentage of anywhere from 100 to 120. Really, that's kind of like the sweet spot for a lot of coaches in professional hockey. And so if you have a 62.5% penalty kill, then to get to that 100, you need a power play that's actually insane. So, not quite sustainable, but you like to think that'll get leveled off eventually. Still think there's more tweaking to do with maybe the personnel. But, at times there are a lot of guys who aren't very noticeable, who, are trying to be in the right spots at the right times, but maybe just a step too late. And I keep coming back to that man coverage I saw in the D zone. I noticed it when I think I saw Patrick Kane was shadowing Thomas Tatar, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. Why are they doing that? And they've done that thing in the D zone where if the defenseman's kind of on the guy down low, they'll kind of ride him up to the top of the circles. I don't know if you guys noticed that when you watch, but if Sider, Edmondson, or any D-man is getting a guy in a corner and he's crawling up the boards, they kind of follow him up to like top of the circle area and then peel back off towards the net front. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look at it a little more closely. It could be like a hybrid man coverage, but it definitely looks different than it did last year. So trying to mix some things up. As a coach, sometimes you try things and they don't they don't work. They don't look as good in person as they do in your head. And I know that for a number of Red Wings fans, Newsy's seat is a bit hot. I tend to think that a little bit more of the blame goes on the management and the scouting staff for the team they're putting out there. But, right now they're winning games, and I don't think anyone working for the team has anything, that they care about too much that we're saying right now. A win's a win, and it feels good in the National Hockey League. But definitely some cracks to patch up in the old ship. But Lucas Raymond so far this year, no goals yet. Seems like teams are really zeroing in on this, on his ability to get loose and find the net. It seems like they've been checking him pretty tight. He's gotten his shit rocked a couple times, but still finding a way to get on the score sheet. 6 assists so far in 7 games. So you like to see that out of him. If he's not going to score goals, he's at least generating assists on scoring plays. So that's good. I'm sure he'll get it figured out soon. When you take that step in your career and other coaches and other players start to know who you are and learn your tendencies and stuff, there's growing pains along the way. He's still a young player. I'm sure he's gonna bury a bunch of goals for us this year, but encouraging that he's finding ways to set guys up and find guys in scoring areas. So that's good for sure. And Dylan Larkin too. I mean, already has 4 goals. I'm not sure how many assists he has, but right back to his, point a game, a little bit higher than a point a game pace. He really is the straw that stirs the drink for the team. And, they were talking about on the broadcast last night. We all flash back to those games that he missed last year, 14 games he missed. The team went 4-10, 28 points up for grabs in the standings, and you only get 8 of them. And that really came back to bite you in the end. But, he's really turned into a solid first line center in the NHL. And I don't know if he'll ever be, 95, 100 point guy. But if he continues to stay on that same trajectory, getting like that 80 to 90 point range, maybe low 90s. And if he could play a full year, if he could give us 82 games, that would just be outstanding. The Wings need all the help they can get personnel wise. I mean, if you're center depth with Dylan Larkin out of the lineup, I mean, that's not that good. So, nice to see that Larkin's, picking up right where he left off and chipping in on the score sheet with goals and assists. And then, back to the goaltending for a minute. We've seen some good outings out of both Talbot and Lyon so far. And I'm just wondering how sustainable that is, right? I mean, Alex Lyon went on that heater that we all remember in the winter last season. And looks like he's playing out of his mind right now. But again, usually when guys who like Alex Lyon or a Cam Talbot are playing out of their mind, it starts to level off a little bit too. So I wonder, it seems like they're trying to play this style where it's bend, don't break, try and win the special teams battle, which hasn't been going so well for them thus far. Worked out tonight in their favor because it was clutch in the third period, but it relies on really good goaltending too. And granted, they've gotten it a few times so far, and maybe those guys are capable of it as long as the coaches are managing their workload appropriately and putting them in good spots to succeed. But again, we as Red Wings fans and who've been watching Red Wings hockey for a long time and through this rebuild, the defense you put in front of them really makes a big difference too. I know I speak for just about everybody when I convey my extreme pleasure with the pairing of Mo Seider and Simon Edvinsson. That looks like it could be a dominant pair for a long time. And granted, sometimes Simon Edvinsson still, looks a little out to lunch sometimes or making a couple of bad decisions here and there, but I think that's a good thing. That's going to help him grow. And honestly, like we talked about it lots on this podcast, like we'd much rather see those young guys get their minutes. Maybe they screw up here and there, but it helps them in the long run. I mean, how many times did we see, Dylan Larkin have a bad game early in his career or go stretches, where he couldn't really find open ice or get loose and find any opportunities to generate high danger chances. Same thing with Lucas Raymond too. He had a sophomore slump. So I think it's a good thing that Simon Edvinsson's playing a lot, top pair minutes, getting lots of opportunities. I think he's going to learn a lot from Mo Seider. I mean, Mo Seider's not that much older than him, picked only a couple years ahead of him, but Mo Seider's logged a lot of NHL minutes and he's logged a lot of tough minutes. So I think that's going to be good for Simon Edvinsson. Where I get worried, and I know I speak for a lot of Red Wings fans, is the rest of the defensive personnel. That's a little bit concerning. I'm not sure the minutes breakdown tonight, but if you for some reason were unable to, have a Mo Seider or a Simon Edvinsson for a period of time, the defense is going to be tough. So far from what I've seen, outside of 53 and 77, I think 8 has looked okay. Ben Sherratt's looked okay. Mata's looked okay in stretches. He's also had some brutal stretches too. I think Albert Johansson needs to, I saw a few tweets tonight, free Johansson. We kind of had a little bit of a suspicion he might be spending more time upstairs to start, but Justin Hull's been a little bit of a pleasant surprise. He was kind of at fault for the first power play goal tonight. He read it right. He just didn't get there quick enough. You gotta be in a position to lift the sticks of those net front guys. That makes it too easy. And you could say the same thing on the Larkin goal. I mean, you can't have your back turned to Dylan Larkin net front with a target for Patrick Kane. That's just got to have better awareness than that as a pro hockey player. So I really don't see a reason to not give Johansson a little bit of a longer leash and some minutes. He played well in the sheltered minutes that he had in the 2 or 3 games or whatever it is that he got into. But like a Gustafson could come out or a Petrie could come out, and you gotta see what that kid's really about. Because I mean, he could be a serviceable piece. You're really not going to know until you give him the runway and let him take off a little bit. So you can pick and choose who your least favorite depth defenseman is on the roster and take them out. But I think it's time that Johansson gets a little bit more of a look, because he's produced well, like I said, in the sheltered minutes that he's had. And again, with the young kids, you're not going to know what you have until you turn them loose a little bit, right? I mean, not everyone's going to be a Lucas Raymond or a Mo Sider and make the team, their first or second year right out of camp. And Johansson, it's been a bit of a road for him. He's had to really earn it and really pay his dues in the American League down in Grand Rapids. And I just hope, as we, especially with what we've seen, we're on a 3-game win streak, but we feel good about it, but we're not like that convinced, I think. But again, it's the National Hockey League. It's hard to win. You got to take your wins and you got to enjoy them. But just the personnel, I worry. I worry with how many shots we're giving up. Like I said at the beginning of the pod, 109-55. We're getting outshot the last 3 games. And we got 6 points and 3 regulation wins. That's crazy. I really hope that the coaches can get some time to practice and do video and do some drills and reps and just kind of reinforce some better habits. We were getting beat to a lot of loose pucks tonight in the New Jersey game. It was encouraging, though. There were some solid 5-on-5 ozone possessions for Detroit where they were getting the puck low to high. They were getting the puck through traffic and at the net and retrieving pucks in the corner. So, it's on film now that they can do it against a Devils team that everyone seems to love. The Devils kind of fall into that category of prove it to me first. But, talented roster. Jack Hughes is incredible with the puck. Speaking of Jack Hughes, I have to comment on this. That empty net goal that Michael Rasmussen scored tonight, that got me off my couch and screaming at my TV. That was the coldest thing I've seen in a Red Wings game in quite some time. Just that, oh man, so cool. Slam dunk and body their best player and give them the wow. That was so cold. So cold. Big shout out to Michael Rasmussen for that one. That was sick. So yeah, I think that right now kind of the state of the team is, we're a little bit all over the place. We can go a period where we're in our own end most of the time and dumping it out and just changing and chip and chase and losing the special teams battle. But then the next period they can come out and score 3 and have a good PK and bury a power play goal. So it's a lot of up and down right now. I feel like they're still trying to figure out their identity, toying with some things. They got a little bit of flexibility in the lineup. Also seems like there's, a flu bug going around the locker room, which is never a good thing to start the season. And then you're immediately dealing with a flu outbreak in your locker room. Talk about bad luck, but whatever. Detroit versus everybody, even influenza, you know what I'm saying? So really hope they can find a way to correct that special team stuff, especially the power play. They're just really struggling with entries, and it seems like, they like coming up kind of the one side after the drop pass and then kind of a little like soft saucer pass over the guy covering the wall guy and get by him that way. I just think it's easy to scout because they do it so much. So would love to see them get more creative with the entries, because you're not going to have a good power play if your entries and your breakout are just pure chaos and it's a coin flip essentially. Got to have a better breakout route plan and a better entry plan. But nonetheless, 6 points in 3 games, 3 regulation wins, scratching and clawing their way back up the Atlantic standings. It's going to be a long season. If this team is going to make the playoffs, and I'm still a little bit skeptical if they're going to, I still think they're going to be a mid to high 80-point team. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they hit 94 points and make the playoffs. But I'm just calling it like I see it right now. But if they are going to be that team and get to the low mid 90s and squeak in as a wild card team, or maybe teams in the Atlantic run into injury, but you just never know. It's a long season. We as fans have a tendency to overreact, and that's okay. That's what makes sports so fun. But if they are going to be that team that scratches and claws their way up the standings and into the playoffs, it's super important that they figure out their identity. It's super important that they figure out the special teams. You cannot have a combined special teams of 78.5% and be a playoff team. It's just not going to work out that way. So got to fix that. got to find a way to find a lineup that works, whether, we're a team that goes 11-7 often, because we just need that extra defenseman down there to help steady the ship. Who's that 7 defenseman? Is it Gustafsson? Is it Petrie? Is it Johansson? I say Johansson should be in if we're going 11-7, like almost always, just because you can play him in big minutes, sheltered minutes. You can see how the game goes. It just gives you more freedom as a coach to make a better decision, at least with the defense. And the same with the forwards too. When you only dress 11 forwards, it gives you an excuse to shuffle the lines up because you have an odd number. So I do like that lineup methodology. It seemed to work tonight and click at the right times. But yeah, just interesting to see how sustainable this is. The defense, man. The defense scares me because if Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon are getting mediocre defense in front of them, I'm not sure how sustainable these save percentages and these, only 3 goals on 42 shot type of nights, how often those are going to happen. So a lot of work to be done. Next couple games, we got a back-to-back this weekend on the road at Buffalo on Saturday. It's an afternoon game at 1:00. And then they're back in Hockeytown. Who are they taking on Sunday? They said it on the broadcast, and now I can't remember. So let me just scroll real quick and keep talking and keep you all distracted while I look up that they play the Oilers on Sunday. Fantastic news. Connor McDavid and company coming to Detroit Sunday evening, tilt there, 6 p.m. So got to keep the ball rolling. Buffalo is a team. That's got to be the Red Wings' focus for Buffalo. It's got to be a get-right game. We got to win the special teams battle. Our PK's got to be really good. 5-on-5, we got to look way more organized. Like it or not, Buffalo is the only team in the NHL that has gone longer without a playoff game. This is company we're trying to avoid. This game against Buffalo on Saturday needs to be a get-right game, and it needs to be a game, everyone compared Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo. People have been saying it left and right for the last 3-4 years. That game's got to be a get-right game. And then you get right, and then you're 5-3 on the year. You're feeling better about the game you just had. Hopefully a game full of good habits and good results and hard work. And then you come in to your own building on a Sunday evening. Hopefully the Lions get a big dub before that. And hopefully we can find a way to squeak one out against Edmonton. So they got momentum in terms of the results right now. Maybe the vibe isn't what we would all like, but at the end of the day, doesn't matter how. Just how many points can you stack? So really looking forward to watching them this weekend to see if we can build on, some of the good things we've done over the past few games. Maybe with the exception of the Islanders game. We didn't really do a whole heck of a lot good that game other than shut them out. How mad was Patrick Waugh? Patrick Waugh had to have been so pissed off after that game. Just, get Patrick Waugh. That's all I got to say. But yeah, Buffalo Saturday, Edmonton Sunday. 3-game win streak. Can we keep it going? I guess we're going to find out at the same time. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, gang. Let's go Red Wings.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Hockeytown Hangout on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.